going to talk about lying, and then we're going to talk about lying versus being incorrect, and then we're going to talk about like how maybe you could be accountable for those things. So lying could be okay or it could be not okay depending on the application. Similar to cheating, it is going to... Similar to cheating, it's going to depend on the application. It's going to be based on whether or not it's consensual, whether or not like there's informed consent in particular. For lying, ways this might look, might be, ooh, do I have any good sprays or anything? How do I spray again? There we go. Hell yeah. So for lying, practical application of how this might look, like examples of the different differences. You might be playing poker and you might be bluffing, and bluffing is not wrong, even though you can technically lie when you bluff. Bluffing and dishonesty are different. That's a separate thing, though. You could technically lie when you bluff, and it's okay because it is generally understood that that is part of the game. Like, consent is implicit when you play poker, that, hey, it's going to be okay to lie for this. That hurt. Consent is implied for poker. Consent's implicit in a lot of things with your participation. It is generally culturally understood, so if you're not of a culture that knows a poker, you might not know that lying's part of it. And in ways like that, it might still be gray, even though it's accepted. So if you're playing like a fucking brand new game you never played before, like Among Us or whatever the fuck, and you don't know, like, someone's secretly trying to kill others, they're an imposter or they're a deceptor, and they're lying, like, it might be a little fucked up for you to find out, like, oh shit, you know, X person was betraying us all along, I had no idea. But also, who the fuck is gonna play one of those games and not know that? But, like, it could happen, I don't know. I'm not gonna judge people if it does happen. It would be very unreasonable, too. That is the poker example. There are many other examples. I'm just running around fucking killing people at this point. We're not doing shit. So, other examples of which lying could be okay or consensual might be something like white lies. Because white lies, like, hey, does my ass look fat in these jeans or whatever the fuck, it might be understood that you expect your partner to be supportive in those situations. And not necessarily, you wouldn't call it a lie, but it would be a lie to say yes or no and, like, not have that be the correct answer. Or to be over enthusiastic about being supportive or whatever the fuck have you. Like, there's a lot of ways in which you would lie in that situation, but it wouldn't generally be understood as a lie because it's generally answered as consensual within that dynamic, which is fine. Like the house rules and cheating, you know. If it's consensual, alright, cool, it's good. Oh my god, fuck me, I had the wrong thing out. So, one thing to mention is something should not be understood or assumed to be understood to be implicit. Obviously, no one's talking about literally everything, so there's going to be times where something is not understood, but someone else thinks it's understood or thinks it's implicit or whatever the fuck have you. That's not the case, and it's just that they haven't talked about that, so they haven't, like, discovered. There haven't been prompts for them to talk about that, so they don't know. Like, you have to wonder about what it means to be considerate to other people at times, or what they want to be considerate about, things like that. And it's going to be the exact same when it comes to, like, telling the truth or lying, or, you know, white lies and things like that. For a lot of autistic friends that I have, they tend to be very on the side of, just give me your honest expression, and we'll go from there. Whereas other people tend to be a lot more, why the fuck would you ever say that? Like, what the fuck? And I'm just like, bro, it's the truth. I don't think it's bad that someone is stupid, but if they're stupid, I'm usually pretty liberal when it comes to telling them that I think they're stupid. Like, I don't think it's bad. I think it's okay to be stupid. But some people see it as, like, a big negative connotation. And they don't want that to people. That's a very different topic. Shit, not bad. Holy shit, we eventually broke through. That is wild. We're allowed to break through on this? This is fucking ridiculous. Did we know we were allowed to win? I don't think anyone told me. That is a wild default. I don't know why they're ulting right now. Like, to stay or bar the enemy, maybe? Anyways, different people are going to have different expectations about what may or may not be okay in a relationship or whatever dynamic or whatever the fuck. For when it comes to lying, like, different people might have different expectations for games and whatever the fuck it is. That duel had a much more impactful ult. It's giving them a free retake. Whereas ours delayed a retake, maybe? Maybe that's good, or that's how to express it. Bro, if I'm healing you, I can't. If you like go 80 feet away, not bad. Maybe they're going for that health back probably. Just maybe didn't remember exactly where it was. Or some shit like that. I don't know. But anyways, if you have someone that isn't familiar with the culture, it would be pretty wild to call someone a liar if they are in a culture where it is an expectation. I think it's probably far more reasonable to call them inconsiderate at that point, because they aren't like considering that you are not of that culture, or they have some expectations that you would understand that you don't, rather than calling them a liar. Even though it is technically a lie, it feels very unempathetic to perspectives to say like, hey, that's a lie, you're lying, you're a liar, and shit like that. I don't know if I've ever been in that situation, so I don't know exactly how I would deal with it. So obviously I'm not fucking high-roading anyone that has or has not done either of those or any of those, because I don't fucking know. I also don't super believe in high-roading, because like, what the fuck's the point? Oh shit, oh shit. Oh yeah! Cool, I got the shift out last second. Why was I throwing my healing at them? Fuck, that's wild. Where's my hurry? Alright, so one thing I mentioned was lying is different from being dishonest. Lying is telling something incorrect, being dishonest is not communicating the full truth. So if you leave something out, you're not technically lying by not saying that thing, but you are being dishonest. You are intentionally like painting a picture that is not the most correct or accurate picture. Not doing your best to communicate the thing is essentially the issue. Okay, so for example, if I was like, hey, did you like the food? And you don't mention that like the rice was fucking not, you know, pliable enough. It was crunchy rice. It was super undercooked. It was terrible. And you're like, oh, I really like the chicken. Well, yeah, that might be true. You might really like chicken. I'm fucking dead here. Fuck me. You might have really liked chicken, but you're leaving out the bit about the rice, so you're misrepresenting your feelings on that dinner, and it's very dishonest, and generally dishonesty is bad. But it is not always bad. The same as lying, there could be consensual dishonesty. Many people are going to want you to soften the blow or use like fucking compliment sandwiches, things like that. Things that might not be like completely honest. Well, actually, compliment sandwiches are typically honest. I mean, that's just softening the blow. It's more of a format thing than it is anything to do with the content. But people that use it, from my personal experience, tend to be more willing, is the point. I'm not gonna say it, don't worry about it. Ignore that. I'm not including that part. Maybe I will. I can't, someone's dead, I wanna go in. Get him, bitch! That was probably a battle. But like, eh, fuck, they tried. That T-bolt though. So the ult I'm saying was bad was the tree, or the hat dude. Because it's like a stationary thing he did behind the point, but they weren't diving us at that point, they were backing up. Which means we probably want it in front of us. That's my assumption anyways. Maybe it does other things, I just don't know. I'm not super familiar with all these characters. Anyways, dishonesty is not painting the entire picture. Lying is intentionally saying something that isn't true or correct. There is a slight nuance there, because you have to know it's not correct for it to be lying. You could be incorrect and not lying. So for example, if I thought 2 + 2 = 5 and I say 2 + 2 = 5, I'm not lying, I would just be wrong. It's okay to be wrong about things. It can conditionally be okay or not okay to lie. Oh, god damn, good job, Pixie. So it's the difference between lying, being incorrect, and being dishonest. Lying, intentionally saying something that's wrong. Being incorrect, intentionally saying something that's wrong but not necessarily knowing it's wrong. And then being dishonest is just not giving the entire truth or communicating it in general. Because there's other forms of communication other than speech, obviously. Alright, so that is cheating, that is house rules, metagaming, third parties, and Discord, that is lying, that's being dishonest, that's being incorrect, as topics so far.